Fucking loved this thing, man. It was right up my alley.
Thanks for that, Andy. Yeah, I thought it might be. Yeah, I could take or leave it myself, but and
Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. It's your boy Andy, your boy John, and your show devoted to listening to music that hopefully you like. And if you don't, or you don't know it, that you will like by the time the episode wraps. So, John, you're sort of up to bat as the offerer, and I'm sort of at your will here. So, what are you going to have me go off and check out?
it's the band are called Friko.
Okay.
Track,
That is me. I've heard of this band before, but I haven't heard them, but I've heard of them. Before you tell me this right, they're American, right? Aren't they?
yeah,
Yeah, I thought so. That might have lent to why I've heard of them. But okay, so the track by Fricko.
where we've been.
Oh, we've been. It's an interesting name. Okay, well, I feel like this is a band I probably should have checked out when I've been told about them in the past or read about them. However, I'd come across them. I'd heard some good things about them. I think maybe it was the debut album had gotten some buzz or something like that. I don't know. You can clear all this up for me, I'm sure, when we discuss it later on. But let me go check out where we've been, and I'll come back and let you know what I've thought. It almost sounds like really faint train tracks or something like like a train on a train track. But that but it does sound in the distance. That's a really interesting way to start off this song. What's that? A plonk.
20 years spent above this place.
Oh, this already sounds like it's going to be lyrically important. So, 20 years above this place. Let's pull that back and get ready.
20 years spent above this place. You could smell the iron from the room.
Like blood?
And the train was running through the window, carrying a pillow so I could lay my head down onto you.
Ooh, sounds so fragile.
Dirty drawers.
It's really pretty.
And an awful stench. A stomach made of stick and glue. A fortress built between the four rooms, huddled in a dorm room. You took it out of me.
Wavering tone.
Your teeth had more than the day before. It's time to get another job. 4 feet between a wall and window will make your wife a widow.
Oh, that sounds like an awful job. It just sounds like so confining and like almost claustrophobic. The kind of job that would make your wife a widow. Phew. God damn, this isn't an upbeat track, is it? Yeah, this is deep. His voice is perfectly cut for this kind of delivery too. These lyrics that have, it sounds like they're just dripping in poignancy, and it's equal parts beautiful and sad, and that is an interesting dynamic that it exists in other songs, of course, but it doesn't make it any less hard hitting when you hear it like in the pit of your stomach.
throw your arms around me.
Throw your arms around me. These ambient sounds.
Now I don't know where we go from here. No. I spent 1 year and I gave it up. Sickness brought you to your parents. A life of lonely errands will make a fool of ya. And your teeth hurt more than the day before. It's time to get another job. 4 feet between a wall and window will make your wife a widow. So throw your arms around me. The truth is hard to bear. So we'll be waiting here till sundown. Save it only comes now when we're staring away from where we've been, where we go.
Oh my God, that was so emotionally exhausting listening to that, and in the best way possible, like in a cathartic fashion that just like almost pulls the life out of it. It reminded me of like slow dancing in a room as an earthquake unfolds around you. Like pictures are rattling off the wall and trinkets and items are vibrating off the mantle and furniture is skidding on the hardwoods as you just sit with your arms wrapped around somebody, both kind of acknowledging what's you're in the midst of, and your world is kind of crashing down. It's like almost like an emotional breakdown is what it felt like. God damn. God damn. I'm sorry. go from here. Yeah.
I let it all slip away. It's 2 a.m. a.m. in the morning.
Oh,
We're running till the dawning takes the breath out of me.
yeah. Me too, man. Me too. Oh, that piano. This reverb guitar. Holy shit. And that sound again. Fuck that sound. Oh my god. I need to go call my therapist. Jesus Christ, man. That was a really moving track. You know, under the right circumstances, I'm not too afraid to admit this. I'm comfortable in who I am. I could, you know, I could I could see myself shedding a tear to this track. Just given time and the right personal circumstances, uh, I might be going through or under when this is playing. Yeah, this could really hit. It hit now. God damn, there's all this. I'm really wondering what it's like. Is there someone sick, like this loved one? There's all these references to kind of like someone being ill and then gone for a year, and then there's this also this theme of like confinement, and this feeling of resignation, and what to do or where to go or how to unpack all of this that they're feeling. Oh my god, it's so fucking beautiful and evocative and emotionally stirring. I you know for me, I'm like wincing and commiserating with everything that he's saying and going through, and it's building this odd, almost unearned from my perspective, connection to the song. Like I could feel it in the pit of my stomach. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is beautiful. His voice was so excellent at conveying all of this emotional fragility that then just comes to a head and kind of like explodes during that emotional breakdown portion that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, this really, really hit with me. I found it incredibly moving, and I loved the way the music complemented the theme. You know, we've talked in the past a lot about how there are songs that the music and the lyrics are kind of divergent, and isn't that funny or ironic or isn't that interesting how they, you know, one doesn't seem to line up with the other or kind of align with the mood. This is synergy here. This is the mood of the lyrics and what they're conveying, and the mood of the music are like conjoined twins. They're sort of inextricable, and it hits you like a wave. It just, you can't help but feel, I think, when you listen to the song, and if you don't, you might want to check your pulse. Yeah, this was really, really moving. I should have listened to these guys a long time ago, or at least when they had been suggested to me. I don't know why I didn't. And there's something about this image that's also evocative, right? This sort of cardinal on an evergreen captured in a pendant. Oh man. Anyway, I'm gonna sit here and just let my mind wander to and fro, probably in some pretty dark places, which I don't want to do. At least not right now, not on this platform. So yeah, let's get back to John and learn more about this track that has completely wrapped me up in its grips.
Alan Bastard, he's back. So you've had to listen to Where We've Been by Friko. What do you think?
What do I think? Ugh, feel like I need to see a therapist after that experience. That was a lot, man. That was a lot, but in the best way. It was a lot, actually. There's something to be said about commiseration and the feelings that you can sometimes find yourself unwrapping or untangling as you listen to someone else do the same. And that was like this experience in a nutshell. The song begins with some low ambient sound that gives way to a tinkling note, and then some gentle guitar chords as our singer joins in the mix. And his voice is equally gentle, almost fragile, but it sounds lovely. It's got this, like I said, this gentleness to it and this fragility. Uh, but in that, there's like vulnerability, and there's something really lovely about being able to take off your mask and just put that shit out there. I think that's why I tend to like a lot of emotional music. Some emo, but just that stuff that really conveys feeling in a wildly authentic way where none of it seems contrived or pretentious or any of that bullshit. And this seems super organic the way that he's presenting this. And he sings of being above this place for 20 years, and the scent of what I assume is blood, as he mentions the smell of iron from the room. But he also alludes to a train running through the window as he carries a pillow so he can lay his head down on this you who he is addressing. And the guitar then takes on a bit more of like this arpeggio motif as it combs through notes that have because of this, often conveys this circular kind of feel or nature to the music. And he continues to paint this vivid picture of being in huddled in a filthy and odorous dorm room that is like a fortress tucked between four rooms, and having a stomach made of stick and glue, which is an interesting way to describe I assume, a physical feeling. Um, he continues on about needing to get another job, one that sadly feels like being sequestered, 4 feet between wall and window, that kind that will make your wife a widow. A depressing scene indeed. And he begs for his person to throw their arms around him. More ambient sounds creep into the soundscape as the beat shuffles along, and then blossoms into the next stanza. And there again is this allusion to a sickness, and from here and giving up after a year. And then he sings a rather sad, almost pathetic line, acknowledging that a life of only errands will make a fool out of you. The next stanza is delivered by multiple layered voices, adding more to the beauty of this track. And he sings of your teeth hurting more. And then the day before, and again, he repeats the portion about having to get another job and the 4 feet in the window, that will make your wife a widow, and is punctuated by another plea for them to throw their arms around him. And I'll just stop briefly and acknowledge that I see that the album is hanging behind you because it was the thumbnail of what I was listening to. And it's a really interesting, we get hemmed in sometimes about artwork and album covers and all that stuff. And there's something really beautiful about the simplicity of this like cardinal on an evergreen captured on a pendant, and then that's it. You know what I mean? With the red background, I don't know. There's something. It's sweet, and there's something almost sad about it too. Like, what's the story of this pendant? Did it belong to your great grandmother? What did she endure? Like, you just start going on these. You start crafting your own stories because of the mood you've been placed in by the music you're listening to. And that's the impasse I felt myself at a couple times as I glanced at this thumbnail. So the song then grows and swells as the drum beat the snare, and the notes and the chords crash all around the soundscape, conveying this feeling of like you're slow dancing in a room of a collapsing building, or that's in the midst of an earthquake. I can see in my mind's eye pictures falling from the walls and trinkets vibrating off place and off the mantle, furniture skidding and moving on hardwoods, while all of this just kind of falls around you as you're in this sort of like lover's embrace. Like there's comfort in the chaos. And it was just all of it felt like really poignant to me. all of it, even before it got to this stage. But this feels like it's the culmination, maybe almost of this like emotional breakdown type scenario.
Mm.
And they sing these na na nas as the main vocalist's voice rises and breaks, and the drums grow more fevered and reckless. And you could feel the emotional heft of someone's sanity careening off the tracks as he repeats the lines about 4 feet between the wall and window. But just as the tidal wave of emotions seemed to swallow everything within its orbit, the music cuts out abruptly at the 4:11 mark, and this leaves the plaintive guitar to sort of brushstroke the chords as the singer's wavering voice presses on, um, breaking but not yet broken. And he sings, "Where we've been, where we go from here, I let it all slip away. It's 2 a.m. in the morning, running till the dawn. It takes the breath out of me." And he is not alone. For I am as well at this point, having invested my time and energy into this emotionally draining narrative, and the music that so excellently illustrates to me what feels like an emotional breakdown. So I'm fully invested in this too. Like I'm feeling it. And as he resolves on the me at the end of that line, the song feels like it mimics him laying his head on that pillow he alluded to so early in the track. The tinkle of the piano notes and the faint reverbed guitar strumming kind of lull the song to a restful position as it dismounts and on what again sounds like the musical allusion to an earlier lyric. This time, the faint sound of a train running outside the window in the distance, and we're done. Man, this is a fucking beautiful song. So sad, so evocative, and so emotionally stirring. I found it hard to look away as I winced and commiserated through the entirety of this track. It reminded me of that old adage. It was like a car crash. I didn't want to look, but I had to. That's what this song was in the form of music. The song could move me to tears in the right situation. I know that. I felt like, pit my stomach, ball in my throat moments as the song sort of came to a head. I could feel my stomach drop further as it all unfolded, but I just couldn't look away. As I mentioned, this is a very special quality in a song to kind of make you do all that or go through all those motions. I love this and wish that I had heeded previous suggestions to listen to this band sooner. Because yeah, I mean, come on, it's going to be in some form. The song will be mentioned at our year-end reviews. Spoiler alert. But yeah, this is fucking loved this thing, man. It was right up my alley.
Thanks for that, Andy. Yeah, I thought it might be. Um, yeah, I could take or leave it myself, but and
Yeah, it's like middle of the road for old John Boy,
yeah,
is it?
yeah. They were interesting. I came across this quite recently. So I downloaded their album from this year, and I thought it was decent. But then I was reading about it saying that their debut album was acclaimed.
Yeah, that's
So
where I think I had heard them, the buzz about that debut.
yeah, so I downloaded it, loved it. So then I ordered the vinyl. So I've only had it a couple of months, really. But it's a great album. But yeah, let's get into it. So Friko are an American indie rock band formed in Chicago.
Mm.
That's where those small pieces come from. In 2019. Friko began in 2019 as a project consisting of Nico Capitan, Luke Stamos, and Bailey Minzenberger. All three members were graduates of Everston Township High School. Everston is where Dave Eggers rode his bicycle to purchase his June Bride records. So it's funny how these things crop up again.
Also, I just want to say I find it interesting that they're from Chicago. One, those names that you just read, very Chicago. It sounds like a couple guys of Greek descent and maybe a Jewish kid, and that is very Chicago. On top of it, also having a pretty large Mexican population as well outside of LA. I think it's one of the largest, or LA and Houston maybe. But yes, very very Chicago-y names, and it also has this shade of that Midwest emo. Although what I hear is indie folk, but I hear indie folk that has pulled in other sounds, and one of them seems to be this organic thing that must be in the water out there in the Midwest, because there is some emotional to this track as well. So yeah, it screams Midwest. But I'm sorry, go on.
Forgive my ignorance, but are the Cardinals from Chicago as well?
No, the Cardinals are from St. Louis, but the St. Louis is famous for having the arch, which is like commonly called the arch of the Midwest, or whatever they call it. It's sort of like the open gate to the Midwest. So that's sort of the southern easternmost entry to the rest of the greater Midwest, which spans all the way to like Iowa-ish. So yeah.
Okay. So after releasing their first EP, which is imaginally called EP1, in 2020, the trio released their second EP, Whenever Forever, in 2022. In August 23, Friko signed with the label ATO Records and announced they were just going to be now a duo of Capitan and Minzenberger.
Okay.
So the band then released their debut album, Where We've Been, Where We Go From Here, in February 2024. So interestingly, the A side is called the Where We've Been side. The B side is called the Where We Go From Here. Obviously, that's the whole album. So at this point, the personnel, which is featured on the record, says Nico Capitan, lead vocals, guitar, piano, percussion, claps. I think that's a musical rather than a medical term.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wouldn't want credit for that on anything documented unless it's my doctor's files.
Bailey Missenberger, drums, guitar, piano, percussion, backup vocals, claps. Luke Stamos, bass, backup vocals, claps. And then they've got some other personnel that sort of joined in. Jack Henry, backup vocals, claps. Scott Talarida, backup vocals, claps. And Group Vox, which is Jackson Hamrick, Sophia Jensen, and Stas Slivka.
Okay.
So the lead single for the album was Crashing Through. It was released in November 23, followed by For Ella in December, and then Where We've Been, the track you listened to, in January 24. The band has cited the Microphones, Beach Boys, Mitski, Modest Mouse, Leonard Cohen, Philip Glass, Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and Me Without You as some of the influences on this album. Have you heard of the Microphones?
I've heard of them, but I don't know if I'm familiar with any of their work.
Okay, interesting. Just
Okay.
park that for the moment.
Mhm.
Upon the release of this album, the song Get Numb to It was named today's top tune by KCRW. I presume that jumble of letters means something to you. And one of the 9 new albums you should listen to now by Pitchfork.
Yeah, I've heard of
So
them.
vocal guitarist Nico Capitan said about this album, one of the main things we want to do as a band is talk about what's happening right now and everything we're feeling with an honesty and directness that gets through to people. I hope that our music helps everybody feel more deeply, but in a way that goes beyond just reacting to the songs. I want it to pick people up so they can go out and do something with whatever they're feeling. Where We've Been, Where We Go From Here received positive reviews. At Metacritic, the album received an average score of 86, indicating universal acclaim. Pitchfork said the album carries the spirit forward, reaffirming that indie rock as a style and ethos can still feel like the most exciting thing a young person could be into. Spin said that Friko's music is dynamic and ambitious in a way that separates them from their more austere peers, and likened them to Radiohead, Arcade Fire, and Bright Eyes, going on to call the album a giant step in that path of greatness, in a similar vein to those aforementioned bands.
Yeah, I could definitely pick up the Bright Eyes for sure in this.
Band, quote, bounce effortlessly from fragile ballads to punk rippers to chamber pop crescendos, somehow both fully in control and barely holding it together. And Relics call the album a pure catnip for diary-totting indie heads, echoing giants like Bright Eyes and Elliott Smith, while never coming off as obvious or derivative. So the lyrics. 20 years spent above this place. You can smell the iron from the room, and the train was running through the window, carrying a pillow so I could lay my head down onto you. Dirty drawers and an awful stench, a stomach made of stick and glue, a fortress built between the four rooms, huddled in a dorm room. You took it out of me.
You know,
And your teeth.
it just dawned on me. I'm sorry, the stick and glue thing. So I don't know if a lot of schools across the country did this, but in seventh grade we had shop, which is like woodworking and stuff like that as an elective course that we were all kind of forced to take. Um, and in it, one of the projects was to build a model bridge out of what would be ice lolly, I guess that's what you guys call it. I'm just trying to translate here. Sticks and glue to create, and with the right amount of thought into the structure so that would hold the most weight, and whoever held the most got the best grade, and so on. And it is almost like that. His stomach is so fragile, he's so ill and sick that it's as if his stomach is shabbily crafted by these materials, like the project that I just alluded to or something. Sorry, it just dawned on me. It was like a revelation. So because now I can make sense of what the fuck it means.
Fair enough. Um, and your teeth hurt more than the day before. It's time to get another job. 4 feet between a wall and a window will make your wife a widow, so throw your arms around me. Now, I don't know how we go from here. I spent 1 year and I gave it up. A sickness that brought you to your parents, a life of only errands, will make a fool out of you. And your teeth hurt more than the day before. It's time to get another job. 4 feet between a wall and a window will make your wife a widow, so throw your arms around me. The truth is hard to bear, so we'll be waiting here till sundown. Seems it only comes now when we're staring away from it. Na 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 na, etc. And then back into 4 feet between a wall and a window will make your wife a widow, so throw your arms around me. Where we've been, where we go from here, take your weights and throw your arms around me. Where we've been, where we go from here, I let it all slip away. It's 2 a.m. in the morning, running till dawn, it takes the breath out of me. So from God is in the TV, they write up, Where We've Been by Friko is a masterclass in modern chamber pop and indie rock catharsis, serving as the grand opening of their acclaimed 2024 debut album, Where We've Been, Where We Go From Here. This song immediately establishes the Chicago band as one of the most exciting new forces in the genre. It acts as a massive sonic wave that captures a generation's shared anxiety and transforms it into pure, unbridled energy. The song slowly constructs a towering wall of sound around itself, steadily escalating as Bailey and Mazenberger's drums lock into heavy marching stomps. By the time the chorus hits, the track erupts into a roaring theatrical crescendo, layered with lively percussion, jagged guitar acrobatics, and soaring elements that feel like a glorious release of tension. Vocalist Nico Capitan delivers a performance defined by visceral, bleeding emotion. His style frequently cracks, sways, and strains into a tortured scream that critics have compared to emotional heavyweights like Conor Oberst and Isaac Wood from Black Country New Road. Musically, the song features a clever cross-media nod to Dinosaur Jr.'s classic 1993 question, Where You Been? I like that. Friko answers that answer by asserting their raw, grungy, yet melancholic presence in the modern indie landscape. From Pace magazine, lyrically, Where We've Been confronts a heavy sense of universal hopelessness, economic dread, and existential isolation. Despite the bleak imagery of the exhausting work and the claustrophobic spaces, the song manages to ring with hope. It argues that the ultimate antidote to modern despair is radical human connection. The final explosive noise functions as an act of defiance, finding beauty and comfort in holding onto someone else while the world feels like it's collapsing. Very much that image you talked about.
I mean, so T, that's crazy.
Yeah, the one line in particular, just to explain, No, I don't know where we go from here. I spent 1 year and I gave it up. This is a reference to, I believe it's Nico, went to college for a year, but struggled to continue due to mental health issues,
Mm.
which led them to drop out and move back in with their parents. And faced with this setback and reversion, it reflects a struggle on how to move forward with their life. And quote from Nico Capitan himself, he says, "My fave has to be Where We've Been, just because of how when we sang that group vocal together at the end of the song, it always feels so beautiful. And after we recorded that one in the studio, we were all sobbing. It's so rare to feel like you got the best performance of a song in a recording. And that take we got for the record is definitely the best performance of that song we've ever done."
Yeah, fucking good on them, man. And I feel this. I've just been introduced to this band, and I completely believe
Yeah.
everything that you just read.
He continues actually. That song, even before we did the recording, it felt different from all the other songs in the sense that it has this slow burn aspect to it. None of the other songs have that. I think the title ended up coming from those lyrics because it felt like it describes this whole record.
Mm.
Um, so how the making of it was such a long process and it encapsulates a few years of time rather than just a few months. That was the one song on the record that I kind of wrote in just a couple of hours.
True.
It just all seemed to come at once, and then we arranged it the same day for the most part, so it kind of just had that magic. So taking a lyric from that as the album name just felt right because it felt different from us in a cool way. And just to say, yeah, following Where We've Been's release, Friko expanded officially to a four-piece with the addition of guitarist Corgan Robb and bassist David Fuller. And yeah, just to confirm that the second album came out in April this year, called Something Worth Waiting For. And it received decent reviews. It was a Metacritic score, I think it was 79, which
Yeah,
is still it's okay.
not
And
bad for a sophomore effort.
I think I listened to it once or twice, but this one I've listened to a lot more. So, you know. But yeah, it's I heard there's about two or three songs of this album in particular I thought would float your boat, as it were. So I picked this one as one that had an immediate impact.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad you liked it.
Yeah, well, nothing floats my boat more than listen to another person's world come crashing down. So, yeah, no, all jokes aside, there is this misery loves company aspect to this kind of music, and I'm definitely in that group of company that enjoys this kind of. There is something cathartic about listening to this
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, definitely,
You
definitely.
know, it's a lot cheaper than going and paying somebody and sitting on their couch for an hour. You know, it's much more cost effective, and you get to
Or you
listen
could see a psychiatrist instead as well. That's another one.
Yeah, it's like, sometimes I just mosey into random homes, plop down
Yeah,
on the couch, and unload all my emotional
yeah,
baggage on people.
yeah,
Usually, I get chased out, especially in a city like Baltimore. But
yeah.
nonetheless, it is cheaper than a therapist. But yeah,
It
this
is.
was
Yeah. You go to those furniture shops and you start crying into the upholstery.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
frowned upon. It's frowned upon.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. All right, I should wrap things up. Thanks for listening, Sunday.
Yeah, great fucking shout,
Definitely
man.
appreciate it. Folks out there, please tell us what you think. If you like this, do slap your meaty paws down on the like button. If you haven't got a like button, invest in one. You need it. And drop some comments. We'd love to hear what you think about this song and the album as well and the band. So yeah, have at it. Really interested to hear your comments. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. We really appreciate everybody who does. And the support of the channel, and you get a free cry along sofa with with every subscription. With that being said, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.